We are back, FPL fans. It feels like it's been an eternity because of the international break, but we are back for team selection game week 30. Let's jump straight into the team. Of course, as always, starting with the goalkeeper and defenders. It's a clear goalkeeping choice for me this week. Although Newcastle against West Ham's probably going to be a tight game, I feel as though Areola's got the better chance of a clean sheet, especially with the news of Sven Botman not being able to play for Newcastle due to injury. I think Areola's got to start. We go on to the rest of the defence. I'm pretty happy with it. I could maybe use a Liverpool defender, for their up-and-coming double, as well as good fixtures, especially that Sheffield United fixture next week. You could be the case that Alex Moreno leaves the squad, although he's got a good fixture this week, and then Connor Bradley would come in, or maybe a Van Dijk even, someone different. But Zabani and Pedro Porro, really happy with. I think the fixtures are quite good for those two players, and the kind of who I would want in, for example, a wildcard team. Anyway, Alex Moreno, on the other hand, I have no idea about his minutes. I just really can't predict it. Therefore, he is probably going to be transferred out, but maybe I take a different approach and get an attacker in and have like a 1 week punt, because just to be clear, I could be wildcarding next game week. I'm going to try to get as far as I can towards game week 34 without wildcarding, but I feel as though next week could be the trigger point, because I've just checked my team for next week. It's not looking amazing. It's a team I could get by with, but I would rather have my team sorted early for those game weeks rather than later. So yeah, from the defenders, Alex Moreno could be the one to go. Connor Bradley or Van Dijk could be the players that join the squad. But yeah, no one else is really standing out. Maybe a Gusto of Chelsea, but is Reece James going to steal minutes off him? Again, I'm not too sure, and I don't think I want to take risks on minutes at this point in the season. Currently 230k in the world. It's not where I want to be, and I don't think I'm going to get any closer to that top 100k goal if I'm just gambling on minute risk players. So that is the defence and goalkeepers. Now, in terms of midfielders, it's maybe a weaker point this week, simply because we've got Foden and Saka playing against each other. Both the best teams in the league, probably Arsenal and Man City. Of course, Liverpool are up there, of course. But yeah, it's going to be a massive game. There's not really a lot of goals in these type of games, so I don't think any of the City or Arsenal assets are going to get a captaincy armband off me. But then you look at the other two in midfield, and you've got Son with Luton at home, and you've got Palmer with Burnley at home. Could be great captaincy shouts, of course. And yeah, again, if I was going to wildcard, these two players, Son and Palmer, would be in the squad. So again, I don't think it's the time to wildcard this week for me. Of course, could be completely different for your side, but Foden and Saka, yeah, of course, Saka has a flag on him in FPL. That's because he came and withdrew from the England squad, and he's came back home now, of course. Same with Gabriel. Gabriel's got a flag as well. I wouldn't start Gabriel anyway in the defence because he's got Man City away. So, yeah, the flags are there on those players. Potentially, Saka could be moved out to a Luis Diaz. But I just don't know how I feel about getting Luis Diaz compared to someone like a Salah. Salah, I would have to take maybe a 4-point hit or an 8-point hit to even fit into the squad. Whereas Luis Diaz could be a free transfer. Saka out, Luis Diaz in. But, yeah, Gordon's on the bench. But with Saka being on penalties, that's the only reason I want him starting in the side. I feel as though Newcastle, the injuries they've had, the setbacks they've had, the news today that Tonali's possibly going to be out for longer simply because he's betted more earlier in the season. It's big news. It's devastating news for Newcastle. and I think that's going to affect how the way how they play. And Gordon has to be an important part of Newcastle's lineup. He's probably one of their more important players at the moment, and it's a lot for him to step up and do those jobs, especially at the age he is. So, yeah, I think Saka's going to stay in for now. If we have news that Saka is injured, it's so easy for me to just put Gordon in for him. But yeah, a transfer that I could possibly make is Luis Diaz to come in, Saka or Foden to leave the side, but it's not something I really want to do right now. And of course, just to finish off the video, we have got the forwards. I'll talk a little bit about captaincy after I've spoke about the forwards. Watkins, Wolves at home. He's got the minutes. Has he got the goals? Well, guess we'll find out, because I don't think it's worth it taking Watkins out and putting someone else in. It's just not the right time to do it for Watkins. I don't think with the fixture he's got this week, it's the right thing to do either. Solanke is probably someone I'm going to dead end into 34. Good fixtures. Doubles in 34, I believe. So yeah, I just don't see why I would get rid of him. His double in 34 is Aston Villa away and Wolves away. So again, it's not the best double, but the double he had before, of course, comparing it to that, it's crazy. But yeah, Solanke, good option to keep in my opinion. Haaland, could we have a conversation that he leaves the squad? Possibly. I think the way people are thinking about this at the moment in terms of double game weeks coming up and players they want to get in is a lot of people are restricted with budget, and selling Haaland frees the budget so drastically. It's insane. For example, you could go Haaland out, someone else up front or an enabler to just sit on the bench. Then you could put that money back into the midfield and get someone like a Salah for Liverpool's fixtures coming up. Of course, Liverpool in their next 6 games, they have Brighton at home, Sheffield United at home, Manchester United away, Crystal Palace at home, then a double of Fulham and Everton both away. So unbelievable fixtures, where City have Arsenal at home, Aston Villa at home, Palace away, Luton at home, and then they have Brighton away. No double for them in game week 34. So there is a big conversation that could be said about Harley. You could get rid of him and then put that money into a Salah. Of course, it's probably going to be a few hits for people, 1 hit or maybe 2 to do that move. But for me, it could be a strategy that you explore, but I don't know. It's so difficult going to sell Haaland just because of his ownership. It is terrifying, but it is something I have my eye on just a little bit, because being in the rank I am now, 230k, a move like that and it paying off is massive. But a move like that and it doesn't pay off and the hits don't work out well, Haaland goes and scores 1 or 2 or 3 in his next few games, then you're looking pretty silly getting rid of one of the best players in the world. So yeah, it's so much to think about this game week. Do I wildcard? Do I wildcard next week? Can I last until 34? There's so much information to be gathered. But that is how the team's looking at the moment. In terms of captaincy, I spoke about Son and Palmer. They're probably my favourite choices at the moment. You could look at Solanke, but Everton, do they really concede loads of goals? I don't particularly think so. So it is truly difficult. You could look at Watkins maybe, but for me, Son is probably my favourite at the moment. If I'm feeling a bit spicy, Palmer definitely gets it. But yeah, no one else really stands out on my side. It's between those two at the moment. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the team. Going into 30, you could look at maybe taking a hit and taking a chance to get Salah in, but I'm not sure it's the right time. But overall, pretty happy with the squad. Just a quick outro to the video. I want to say a big thank you if you're watching to this point now. If you have enjoyed today's video, please drop a like and a subscribe so you can be notified for my future videos. But that is everything for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.